Dash and RESUPPLIER are the two best perks. Take them on every class except Dash or Scout, but even then, sometimes on Scout, in every build, if your goal is to win as much as possible on or above Hazard 5. Iron Will or Field Medic should fill your second active slot. Iron Will if you're playing a difficulty hard enough that your team can wipe regularly, Field Medic if you're more comfortable, or both if you're a Scout. Take Born Ready if you're not Driller. Take Vampire if you have Iron Will or are Driller. Take one of these perks if your third slot is unfilled. And that's it. Those are the best perks in Deep Rock Galactic. The exit is to your left. Mind your step, and if you would be so kind, leave a like and subscribe on your way out. Please also leave a comment about how See You in Hell is overpowered on Hazard 4, and how Beastmaster and Shield Link, looking at you, Viren, are actually sleeper picks, and then please be on your way. Are they gone? Alright, I think they're gone. For those of you still here, looking for a little nuance in your life, thanks for sticking around. Let's get a bit deeper into the details. Perks are interesting because they have such high variance in power that multiple are nearly impossible to deny and end up being insta-picks if winning as much as possible is your goal. Because of that, there's little to no true variance in optimal perk limits, with the little present being defined by multiple mediocre perks vying for the title of least useless. We'll go down the list by power, and at the end I'll rapid fire all the perks I don't think are worth using most of the time. We'll start with Dash, the king of perks. It needs no introduction. You get out of jail free card, cutting powerhouse, potent positioning tool, clears slowdowns, and a criminally low cooldown. When you look at what any other perk does, there's really no comparison. Even Iron will only save you once. Dash saves you dozens of times and still provides value outside of danger. Scout largely seems to not need this perk, but even then, occasionally being able to cover a dangerous period of grapple downtime can often be more impactful than other perks. It's really hard to justify not taking Dash. RESUPPLIER is the queen to Dash's kingdom. Where Dash provides positional fluidity and burst safety in a pinch, RESUPPLIER provides positional stability and sustainability. This thing is 3 great perks wrapped into one, keeping you firing and fighting for far longer. It's healing, it's clutch, it's really just so much better than every other option. There's no reason not to take this as any class on any build. Everybody needs to resupply at some point, and RESUPPLIER just makes that so much safer and more impactful. This perk single-handedly carries true solo runs on its back, and is a must-pick in every scenario. Filling our second active slot is either Iron Will or Field Medic. These two perks kind of have to be discussed in conjunction, since taking one means you're missing out on the other. I strongly believe Iron Will tends to be better in coordinated team play. While Field Medic provides sustained value over the course of a run, revives in a tightly knit team tend to not be that dangerous, and clutch revives off Field Medic are inconsistent at best. It's still not weak by any means, of course. Field Medic is great for getting more revives more safely, which can be exceptionally valuable in vanilla pub lobbies, where it's my top pick. However, in the worst situations, Field Medic requires one player alive and only secures a single revive. Iron Will, on the other hand, can practically guarantee 2 revives, yourself and another person, with the invincibility phase allowing you to aggressively make space or grab a resupply, all without having the pesky requirements of being alive to use it. It's also incredible for quickly getting back into action during tense moments, letting you secure that critical direct repair, charge that uplink ASAP, or stabilize with the team during tough pushes. Iron Will's ability to put a valuable player or two back in action without any additional attention required from the team is just invaluable in high-stress situations. The only time I might consider Field Medic over Iron Will is on Scout, who gets to go for difficult revives far more often, but Scout can comfortably run both Field Medic and Iron Will at the same time due to their lack of a need for dash, which is what I tend to opt for. The value of Iron Will, of course, goes down if you don't go down, meaning it can often be very skippable in difficulties that you don't have much difficulty on. I generally take it when pubbing in Hazard 5 as a result. But at that point, why are we even talking about perk optimization? And while we're on the topic of actives, we might as well get the last reasonable active out of the way. Heightened Senses is exceptionally good in solo, where often a grab means death. It also provides passive attention benefits, considering you don't really have to be as wary of leeches. In a team, it can be nice on Scout, who often plays away from other classes. The rest of the time though, spending a full active slot on 2 enemy types that just aren't that dangerous if you're playing with the team isn't too impactful. With the meta actives done, we're free to focus on the rest of the passives, which are honestly largely defined by how low impact they are. Oftentimes the decision to take a passive comes only because the others don't do much. There's one standout passive perk aside from Resupplier. Born Ready, which is 2 parts quality of life, 1 part constant suppressive fire. The fluidity and convenience of always knowing that when you switch to your other weapons, they'll be reloaded cannot be understated. In tense situations, switching weapons and finding an empty magazine can be fatal. For equipment, always having that plat to clutch your fall, that zipline to make a quick getaway, or brainless flare saves you an enormous amount of attention and prevents moments of carelessness from costing you your life. In combat, it enables continuous damage output, which means continuous safety. Cutting seconds of downtime out of your combat loop provides a touch more breathing room, which can be the difference between life or death on Hazard 5 and above. It's also just fun. I run Born Ready on every class, even if I only have 1 reloading weapon, and I think you should too. The only time I don't take it is on Driller, who typically runs the experimental plasma charger and has equipment that doesn't reload. But even on Driller, there's an argument just for primary uptime after thin containment fielding. From here on out, perks are largely interchangeable. I don't think the perk that occupies your 3rd slot is particularly important, and every option here is honestly pretty mediocre, with the decision being more about which is the least useless. However, I do think Vampire stands out as the best option. It has the side benefit of providing a bit of passive sustain throughout the course of a mission, especially in Driller, where I think you should always take it given drills, axes, and not having to take Born Ready, but its main use is guaranteeing you stay up after Iron Willing. Iron Will is just such a good perk that it's worth spending both an active and a passive on it. Given no Iron Will, your options do expand a bit. Sweet Tooth is probably the next best option, maybe if you feel like it. Getting 30% more health from sugar and a speed boost is nice, especially since it tends to kick in when you need it most, when you're on low health and have to heal off sugar. I'll often take this in my 3rd slot when not running Will or on Driller. Unstoppable is another nice option. It helps against slashers and U-bombers generally, and is very convenient in a variety of biomes. Not much to say, just a generally pretty solid perk. Elemental Installation is in a similar boat, provides value against Praetorian Spit and Acid Spit, 2 of the most dangerous enemies in the game, and against environmental hazards of all kinds. Overall, just pretty decent. The last perk I would really recommend, controversially, is Thorns. It really does help tremendously for attention. It takes an equivalent amount of time and attention, with some builds, to kill a single Stormer or Nativite as it does a full grunt. Less time wasted dealing with singular annoyances is more time spent being productive. I often find myself reaching for this perk on Scout, but I do sometimes even end up taking it on Gunner or Engineer. We'll rapid fire the perks I don't think are worth taking now. Beastmaster requires you to waste time and attention converting a grunt that does little and dies fast on higher difficulties. Berserker is pretty good burst, but is held back by its long cooldown and the fact that it's competing with more useful options. Needing hover boots is the result of a positioning or teamwork issue and provides little value outside of recovering from easily avoidable mistakes. See You in Hell is competing with 2 perks that can actually revive someone instead of making it slightly easier to be revived if your teammates can even reach you, while having a melee boost that's useless past has 3. Shield Link can be a nice bit of survivability for your teammates, but is finicky to use in competing with better options. Deep Pockets is decent in true solo, where each deposit can be dangerous, but otherwise is fairly negligible quality of life, especially on Scout, whose grapple allows him to move between depositing and ore veins easily. Friendly is an aim issue and useless with slightly proper teamplay. Second Wind never activates if your movement is good and you're actually shooting bugs. Strong Arm rarely ever is anything more than mild quality of life, and is useless for combat and safety. Veteran Depositor grants excessive speed to deposit cancelling, and its damage resist is useless unless holding, but most times when you do hold, Molly isn't available, and other holds are the least dangerous parts of missions. It's the Bug Thing is a bit too powerful to take with any sort of competitive integrity. In summary, to echo the first 30 seconds of the video, take Dash if you're not playing Scout. Take Iron Will on difficulties you find hard. Take Field Medic over Dash on Scout or on difficulties you don't find so hard. Resupplier on every class. Take Born Ready if you're not playing Driller, Vampire if you run Iron Will or are playing Driller, and Sweet Tooth, Unstoppable, Elemental Installation, or Thorns in your 3rd slot if it's unfilled. Here are my typical perk loadouts by class. If you enjoyed this content, consider liking and subscribing to encourage more similar videos. Happy mining out there. Rock and stone.